What's up, people? I am so excited to tell you about NordVPN, okay? Because I travel all the time, whether it's on a cruise ship, another country, a military base. And now sometimes I can't watch the UFC because where I'm at doesn't have it. Well, now I can because NordVPN makes it so that I can watch the UFC from different territories via streaming. It lets you change your computer's location to come from anywhere in the world. How cool is that? You might be wondering, what's a VPN? Okay, I know I was. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. And it's a service that protects your internet connection and privacy online. It creates an encrypted tunnel for your data. It protects your online identity by hiding your IP address. It allows you to use public Wi-Fi hotspots safely. Yes, so no one will track you or hack you, yada, yada. No one likes to be watched or tracked. I don't. Even if you have nothing to hide, still, we want our privacy, which is why it's important to step up your privacy game. Whether you're browsing through a VPN, when you are doing that, okay, your traffic is encrypted so that no one can see what you're doing online, all right? I know a lot of our listeners like to, be private. I've met some of you guys, and I can understand why. Here are a few reasons why you need a VPN, okay? Use public Wi-Fi regularly. You want to access your content. You want to stay safer online, and you're an avid gamer. So you get your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/roasted. You can get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 months for free. That's the best deal ever, right? It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. I am so pumped because now I can watch the fights from wherever I am. Because so many times I'm like trying to watch the fights and I'm like, it's the most frustrating thing ever. Well, now my life is going to change thanks to NordVPN. NordVPN, check it out. Highly recommend. You'll be thanking me later.
Let me bang. I do let you bang. Hey, let me bang again, man. I let you bang. I let you bang. Greetings, marriage and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No for Kay Jesus, people.
And I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Hey, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. I'm here with Bill Dawes, who is bald for an acting role. Could we talk about it or no?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, so you shaved your head for a role on a TV show.
Yeah, let me put it this way, for scale. How about that? Yeah, it was so it's, should I say it? Okay, it's the Lorne Michaels show. So I guess he's used to get with your head. I'm like, can I have a bald cap? And they're like, no.
But this
I'm like,
is
can I get more
bro.
money? Can I get more money? They're like, no. I'm like, all right.
But it's like a recurring character?
No, it's just a guest star. That's the thing. It's like what?
Whatever, man. You are the most, like, you are so, I don't know what they did to you at like Princeton or like what your parents did to you, or I think all your parents are like geniuses, right? That's the problem.
My brothers are, yeah.
Your brothers are all genius, so they're all like Brown, the one with the Brown or something. They're all like millionaires. So it's like no matter what you do, you think is not good enough because.
Well, I mean, Adam, don't you feel the same way? Isn't that like the curse of being human?
I mean, I try to not do that though. Like I don't think you try not. I don't think you care because like you're sitting there. You were just on a show with the girl who won an Oscar, Hillary Swank. You had a huge role on that. Now you're playing a guest star on an HBO show produced by Lorne Michaels, who's arguably one of the best TV producers of all time for Saturday Night Live. There's a show running for like 45 years, and you're still like, yeah, whatever. It's as if you're like doing extra work or not even that. I mean, you just don't even. It's crazy.
You know what it is, Adam. I mean, and maybe you feel the same way, but like sometimes, like you have an idea about what it is that will make you happy. You know what I mean? Like if I get my series regular, if I get my Netflix special, you have these ideas, and then you keep moving the goalposts. What that is. So for me, yeah, I want to be a series regular.
I understand that. I'm in therapy once a week, and also trying to figure out like, basically like I love my dad. My dad and me, we have our ups and downs, but for him, it was always like, we're gonna make you a household name. We're gonna make you a household name. We're gonna get you to be and then that became my goal, but I had to realize that my goal was never to be a household name. When I wanted to become a comedian, it was not like, oh, I have to be a household name. It was like, well, I want to be a professional comic. Like, how cool would that be to do what I do, what I love? And then that once I realized that like I was putting other people's goals and making them my goals, which is very easy to do today in like social media and everything, where you're like, people are like, oh, you're irrelevant, or I never heard of you, or this or that, and then you start doing that, or how many followers do you have, or your video only got 822 views, and this one has 500,000 views. Like, bro, I know people with millions of views, millions of followers, and they're working at Postmates or they're working for whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. And for me, I had to not let other people's goals become my goals. Hey, Violet, what's up? You're hungry? Okay. What do you want to eat? Oh, you have food next to you. There's still the muffin there and everything else.
Well, I mean, for you, Adam, it's like you get to work at most club in the country, most clubs in anywhere. Obviously in LA, they all work with you. Everyone works with you. Everyone loves you. You have how many comedy specials? You have a wife and kid and a podcast, and you're like,
yeah, but of course, but I look at like guys who like Theo Von, who I started before him, and I used to give him spots, and then he's selling out arenas, and he's doing he has a tour bus or whatever. So I have to not look at that, because for every Theo Von you look at, there's 25,000 people that started before me that I passed. Yeah. Or people that like I started doing comedy that just quit. You always forget the people that quit, which is like 99%. Yeah. But
and you always forget, and we both love Theo. You also forget, like, Theo Von's had a lot of issues dealing with his fame. It's fucked him up in a lot of ways. He's had to go to therapy. He's wrestled with it a lot. It's not like this, you're just given a golden ticket that makes you happy forever.
Well, speaking of wrestling, so I was coaching yesterday, because that's the thing I realized that like you have to do in Hollywood is you can't make it just about your career. You'll go crazy. 100%. You'll go crazy. You need something else. If it's a jiu-jitsu class or a boxing class or something, you can't. These people that like just make it about their career. A couple people like Whitney Cummings, I saw her just make it about her career and succeed. But other people, they end up like it's over. They have nothing. Even if they make it, they have nothing. So like I try to coach. I've been coaching 14 years wrestling, and that like keeps me grounded. It keeps me human. But man, it's funny, like, cause like I'm like, okay, guys, we're doing drills. All right. So everyone in Superman position, right? Which is basically you stand up, one guy's in Superman, one guy's down for a double leg, blow the whistle live. Because right now it's all about live, figuring out where their bodies are, technique and live, and they all want to be live, which is great. But I got to be like, okay, Superman or Superwoman, because we have girls on the team, or a super they. Like I never had to do super they before. Dude, I got this one kid on my team who literally, like, last year I had to call his mom and be like, I'll call him Steve. Has Steve talked to you about practice? I threw him out of 9 practices out of 10, right? Because he was just mouthing off, arguing. His move was always better, And then, of course, the mom's like, oh, his practice. He really likes wrestling. Has he told you that he got thrown out of 9 practices so far? No, he didn't mention that. And then that became like, yeah, I had to throw. She's like, she goes, wrestling is usually when his medication wears off. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? So you guys are both unstable. I can't see either of you. Dawes, can you hear me, Bill? Bill? Dalton? Is there okay, yeah. He goes, medications, because that's what it's. So then I tell him yesterday, because everything I say, the kid has something to say, right? So I go, bro. I told him, I didn't say bro. I said, listen, if you have a question or something to say, just say it to yourself, not out loud. And that's how we're going to do things from now on. But before we go on to the rest, because we got to talk about strip clubs and shows and everything else, we got an absolute killer joining us. This guy right here is what, 9-0, 8-0, 9-0,
8-0,
8-0. And Bill, like if you had a video game and you wanted to put together the perfect fighter, not to hype this kid, I honestly think that he's the like strength, like technique. The kid looks like an Adonis.
I know. Can we talk about looks? Like, you're way too good looking to be fighting. What's happening here? This is like a Paige Van Sant male situation.
Hey, man, I love what I do. I didn't get a modeling career, so fighting it is.
And he does everything right. And it seems like he only knows 4 moves, but the 4 moves he knows, he does them perfectly. Like, he's got a blast double that's like literally just like, even like it's like a Jordan Burroughs double. It's like head right in the middle, picks people up, dumps them on their head. He knows how to punch. He knows, like, he has a good right and a good left hook. And I don't even know if he knows submissions, but no one's even won a round off this kid. What's your background, Dalton Rosta?
It's Rosta, but
Better.
My background. Sorry to correct you. It's just
I got you.
So the rest of the interview, you don't keep messing it up. But I started off wrestling whenever I was like 6 years old. Wrestled till I was 7, so about 2 years. And I got out of it, and then I started wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu again whenever I was 12. I started boxing when I was 11. So I've dabbled in a little bit of everything. And then when high school came around, I was just focusing on wrestling and football. I initially went to college to wrestle on a full scholarship at Seton Hill University. And then I transferred to Youngstown State to play football. After I got hurt, I wanted to continue my athletic career. So I got back into jiu-jitsu and boxing with the intention of becoming an MMA fighter. But it was just jiu-jitsu and boxing at first. I wasn't at an MMA gym. I was doing everything separately.
Now, was your wrestling coach in college must have been thrilled that you got a full ride and quit to play football?
Well, I didn't really quit. I got injured. Tore my PCL, my MCL, meniscus, all that shit.
What's a PCL? I've never heard of a PCL.
It's in the back of your knee. I couldn't tell you what it stands for. It's just an acronym for it. But so long story short, me and him had a falling out because whenever I got injured, he was trying to push me to still practice. And the physical therapist was like, something's really wrong. Like, his knee isn't stable. We've been doing physical therapy for, 3-4 weeks. It's not improving. And he started having me get on the bike and doing the ropes during practice just to stay in shape. And PSACs rolled around, couldn't wrestle in PSACs. At the end of the day, ended up transferring because we had a falling out. We weren't getting along anymore. He accused me of skipping my doctor's appointment when the doctor called me at the doctor's office called me at 6:30 a.m. and my appointment was for 7:30 a.m. And they called me beforehand, said that we're going to have to reschedule because the doctor had a family emergency or something. I forget what the reasoning was. But I walked into practice that day ready to ride the bike and do the ropes. And he was like, why'd you miss your doctor's appointment? I was like, I didn't. They rescheduled. He's like, yeah, they rescheduled because you missed it. And I was like, listen, coach. I was like, my phone's down in the locker room. We were practicing at the top. We didn't really have a wrestling room yet. We were in the top of an old gym at Seton Hill. And the locker rooms were down on the first level. So I took the elevator down. Went and got my phone, brought it back. It had the timestamp on it of 6:30. I let him listen to the voicemail, and it said exactly what I just told you guys. And instead of apology, I didn't need an apology. I'm a man. At the end of the day, I knew I was right. I knew what he was accusing me of was false, and I didn't need an apology. But it was just the way that he acted after that. He didn't offer an apology. He looked straightforward. Didn't admit he was wrong. Didn't try to make amends. The friction in the relationship and just the relationship itself remained. So nothing really fixed after that, even though I wasn't in the wrong, and it just continued to spiral downhill. And long story short, ended up transferring because of it.
How many did you place in the nationals, or did you make the nationals? Did you win anything?
I transferred before that, but I was ranked at the time 5th in the country in Division II. I actually beat the number 2 guy. He was from Gannon. I beat him 3-1, a buzzer, beat the buzzer takedown. So I was doing really well. I was 23-4 on the season. Who knows what I would have done? I can't speak for that because I didn't get to wrestle at regionals or anything, but I was doing very well, and I was beating a lot of the top ranked guys. Also beat Sawyer Lepla, who was ranked 6th. That's how I got bumped up to 5th. I beat him pretty bad, 11-2 or something. So like I said, I was doing very well. I didn't really want to transfer, but it really wasn't working out between me and my coach. So.
Hey man, so it said that you started lifting weights at 9.
10. They had that off by a year. It's 10 years old.
Was your dad pushing you? Was your dad you're gonna be a champion?
So it wasn't with the intention of necessarily being a champion in MMA. He just wanted to turn me into like an athletic machine.
So you're from Pennsylvania. Was he in the mining industry? Was he like?
No, he drove a cement truck. He was in it was called Castle Builder Supply. He laid cement. He drove truck for them. And like from the time I was 10 years old, I was actually just talking about it with the gym owner yesterday. I was in Newcastle, and the gym owner of the gym I was at the time was on the Lower West Side. Now it's up in the Union Plaza. And we were talking about how my dad had me in there at 10 years old, lifting weights, bench pressing, squatting, doing all that shit at 10 years old, which it's ill-advised by doctors and stuff.
You think?
But my dad was trying to turn me into a machine. He had me taking the creatine, the amino acids, the protein, everything right after I worked out. And it was with the intention of being special.
You were on creatine at 10?
Yeah, 10 years old, man. And I think it worked out,
It worked. What the fuck? Yeah. Now we know the secret to good parenting.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I never heard of isn't that like steroids at 10 years old? I mean, did you have a mustache? You must have had like the only guy with hair on his balls and fucking 10. Like you must have everyone must have been scared of you and in the locker room and stuff.
Actually, I was a late bloomer. I didn't start going through puberty until I was probably like 15 years old.
Wow.
But my dad had me lifting at 10 years old, and
it was probably stunted because all the creatine and shit you were taking.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go back and change it, man. It made me into the athlete I am today. By the time I got to high school, I was the strongest football player on my football team. And that's including all the offensive linemen, defensive linemen. I weighed 190 pounds my senior year, 195. And I was bench pressing 355 pounds.
Jesus.
The most on the team. And I was squatting over twice my weight. So I wouldn't change it.
Now, it said you were 240. When were you 240?
After when I was recovering from my knee injury in football, so this is why I actually stopped playing football. I had another knee injury on the same exact knee, retore the same exact injury that I had whenever I was at Seton Hill that I already had surgery on, and didn't get cleared for spring ball in time. But I was doing all the working out, taking all the supplements, the mass gainers, the protein, the creatine, everything to try and enhance my recovery. And I was gaining weight because of it. And I wasn't doing any cardio because I couldn't run because of my knee. And I got up to about 240 pounds. That was the end of my sophomore year, beginning of my junior year.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. My daughter is sick today from school. So she came while you were talking. She came up to me and said, "Daddy, the banana you gave me has a little bit of rotten in it. So I have to go downstairs and get her a different banana." So while you were talking, I was getting my kid. I don't want you to think I don't even want to think I'm not professional here. Okay. Very, very professional. I had to get my kid a banana that didn't have any black in it. All right. So
it's all good.
Or
I had to leave podcast before for a second to take care of my dog before. So
got it. And because you switched the time, we're now joined by somebody else. So I got Dalton and Kay on, by the way. You know Kay Hansen?
Yes. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Kay, you're here with an undefeated fighter from Bellator, ranked number 5, or was ranked number 5.
I don't know what the rankings are now. I'm assuming they're going to stay the same just because I didn't get to finish. But
never lost a round, right?
Never.
Oh.
Never lost a round as an amateur.
Are you up for the title fight next?
No, not next. Maybe 2 fights, I would say.
The problem is his teammate is the champion in Johnny Evelyn.
Oh shit.
So
there's where the drama comes.
So
it's not going to be any drama. At the end of the day, we're professionals. If we have to fight each other, it's business only.
But you guys still training together?
Doesn't it help you just to find a little bit of something that you hate about him, just to feel you, just something that just annoys you, like anything that doesn't help at all?
No, it doesn't fight me. When I fight, I'm like calm and collected. Like I'm not zero emotion.
Got it.
Yeah. So Kay, by the way, Kay was an Invicta fighter. So this girl right here, I'll tell her whole life story in 2 minutes. I'm gonna fuck it up.
Are we only interviewing good-looking people today? What's going on?
So she was 16. She was 16 years old. Allegedly offered a scholarship to Harvard for softball. Started taking jiu-jitsu. Loved jiu-jitsu. Said fuck it. Dropped out of high school. Became a pro fighter. Was the youngest girl to fight in the UFC ever. Like she started winning really well.
What age?
At what, 19?
20.
20 years old in the UFC, right? She won her first couple fights, had a 3-fight skid, all decisions, never been finished. This girl can take a shot in the face, right? I mean, she's a monster, right? She's 23 years old. She's in Invicta now, but she also does OnlyFans, and she's making a killing. She's like rich. She's like everyone in the world wants her OnlyFans, to the point where even like Barocina hit on her. Paulo Costa said he wanted to go swimming with her, but she got married to a wrestling coach, who's a very nice guy.
It wasn't a coach. It's not the typical student coach. It was a training partner.
Yeah.
So it was different. Don't categorize me as that, but it was just a training partner.
Yes. And now I don't understand. People get so mad at you. Like, what did you do to anybody? What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've been with Invicta like at a pro level. Obviously, I made my pro debut with them since I was 18. So I feel like ever since I was 18, I've been like to the public eye, I guess. And people always got something mean to say. I don't know. I turned my comments and shit off because I was like, you guys do too much. Like, it's just too much for me. But I don't know. At the end of the day, people are gonna hate you regardless. You know what I mean?
You've been nice to everybody. You've never done anything wrong.
That's what I don't know. I've always been pretty nice. I don't have any like unnecessary drama or beef or whatever, but I think it's the OnlyFans thing. I think a lot of people like look down on it, which is like, whatever. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion. But at the end of the day, it like allows me to structure my training camps. Like I don't have to get a second job. I don't have to fight for financial reasons. Like I'm just fighting because I love it. And people assume that I spend all day, every day, like focusing on OnlyFans. And it's like, it's actually quite the opposite. I can spend my whole day focused on my training camp or my training in general. And it's nice.
No, I don't know this for a fact.
OnlyFans
Go on, Bill.
Well, can't OnlyFans also? It's not things that are of a sexual nature. Can't OnlyFans also just be exclusive content to you doing?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Is, like, obviously, it's some exclusive content, but I also like I'm on there just like chatting. I have a lot of people on there who just like to talk to me, and they just pay the subscription to talk. And I post all my training content on there too. Like, it's not only like, you know what I mean, what everyone else thinks. Like, it's a lot of training content, it's a lot of behind the scenes content. Like. Of just like my life, and like there's actually a lot of nice people on there, believe it or not. Like people are always like, oh, it must be a bunch of creeps, and it's like obviously there's a few because of the nature of the website, but there's like a lot of nice people that just want to like talk and like get to know like a professional athlete. So it's kind of cool.
Now, Dalton, are you on OnlyFans too?
No, I am not.
Now,
is it making you think maybe you should try it though?
No, it's not for me.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Yes, I have a girlfriend.
Now, how long you had this girlfriend for?
We've been together for a little bit over 2 years now.
Well, good. So she's with you when no one even knows you. So like when you're when you're the champion, forget about it. Like then that's your girl you want, because after you become the Bellator champion, which is gonna happen, all the girls are gonna come out on, it's gonna be $1 million, right? Is it gonna be like some kind of tournament that you're gonna win?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're doing the tournament at 185 or not next. I've heard rumors, but I'm not 100% sure.
Got it. Now, are you also in AEW wrestling?
I'm not signed to them. It was just kind of like one-off appearances and stuff like that. We kind of just went for fun, really.
How's that? Were you a good guy or bad guy?
We were all bad guys. We were going in there ruining people's matches and shit.
Are you afraid when you do something like a wrestling like that you could injure yourself? You're like, I fucked up my MMA career doing this goofball. I'm sorry, not to disrespect wrestling. Wrestling is amazing. But aren't you a little bit worried like you could injure yourself just doing that over your MMA, which you're more passionate about?
No. I mean, I still play basketball every now and then. I mean, if like my friends wanted to play pickup football or something, I would do that shit too. But I don't want to exclude certain things from my life just because I fight MMA. You know, there's a risk of injury of anything. I can get injured moving furniture.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, you guys watched the UFC fights last week, all of us?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about that. What's up, Violet? What?
So why do you have Danny Wilson on your name, by the way?
Oh, it's my little sister's Zoom. So back in COVID, I like help her set this up, and like I never made myself an account, so it's my little sister's name.
Hi, Violet.
My kid's sick today. Well,
what you should give her? Adam, give her creatine. Give her tons of creatine, protein shakes.
So let's talk about Paddy Pimblett, because I've never, like, when this guy first came to the UFC, his chin is straight up. Now, granted, I don't think he does himself any favor with that haircut. Every time he gets hit, his hair goes flying. Sometimes it looks like he's a lot more hurt than he actually is. And I think they're actually like, to everyone else, it's like, oh shit, he's really hurt. But I'm like, during a fight, your corner shouldn't have to tell you to put your hands up. It just seems like that should kind of be a given during a fight. Like, I mean, like, I'm no fighter, but I think that, like, you should have, like, the basics. But it seems like this guy is just, they're gonna have a tough time carefully matching him up, because eventually the guy's gonna lose, because he's just not an elite fighter. He's an entertaining guy. He's a character. He's fun. But I don't see this lasting too long. Dalton, what are your thoughts?
I'm feeling like the same push almost they tried to give Connor, but I think Connor had a little more like poison skill to back it up. You know what I mean? But I do sense the same like kind of push, because he is entertaining and people like his social media presence and the persona he puts out there. But I don't know. I personally, like, I wouldn't say Gordon got robbed, but I do think Gordon won that fight personally. I thought he won the first and the third round, but I don't know.
Dalton?
I mean, I think he won. Gordon won. And personally, I never thought Paddy Pimblett was that good to begin with. I just think he got exposed in this fight. So, I mean, like you said, it's going to be hard to give him favorable matchups if that's what they're trying to do, if they're trying to build him.
Yeah. I mean,
go on.
Well, I was gonna say, it's so bad that, like, they're actually investigating the judge now. You know what I mean? That judge is, like, under review.
They need to investigate.
Okay, there was worse decisions on the Bellator card. Did you watch the Bellator card?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there was worse decisions. I mean, it was
Cody Law got robbed. He was on the fight. He was on top for 2/3 of the fight, and he lost. And on his feet, he was landing the better shots and stuff. You know, he was getting walked down and he was backing up a lot, but he was the one landing more shots. And then he was on top most of the time. He was landing from top. It wasn't like he wasn't being active. And then Danny Sabatello, a lot of people were saying that could go either way. But I mean, if controlled, because before the fights, they were talking about the judging criteria, and duration is part of the judging criteria. Like, how long are you controlling the fight on your feet? How long are you outstriking your opponent? That's duration. How long are you controlling your opponent on the ground? That's duration. After that, it's damage. Or it's damage first, then it's duration. On top of that, it's like other things like cage control, area control. And if you go back and look at that fight, I mean, it was back and forth. It was 2-2 going into the fifth round. I don't think anybody will argue that, but I think Danny won the fight. He controlled him the entire third round. And they gave it to Rafion Sauce because he was doing this, literally elbowing him this hard when Danny had his back, and he was just throwing elbows back like this. Little soft elbows, like, had no damage, no effect.
They
probably scored that. Yeah, probably.
Did people boo when it was announced that he lost? Was it that bad? You don't remember?
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember the reaction to him just leaving the cage, you know, immediately, like not even sticking around for the entire decision or interview or anything. He like just ran out of the cage right away. I mean, there's a lot of people booing a lot of the decisions, you know, not just those two.
Well, it just seems like with Paddy, like everyone, it's just so funny because everyone was loving this guy. I mean, he was like everyone loved him. And then all of a sudden he goes after Ariel, which was kind of a strange move. And then he becomes like Dana White. He does the whole like making food with Dana White. And then all of a sudden Barstool Sports is giving him money. And now he became the whole world. I mean, literally his last fight, he was like, I want to dedicate this to people with mental health. And everyone's like, yay, what a great guy. And they're crying and they love him. And now people are like, fuck this guy. I hate this guy. But he didn't do himself any favors by telling everyone, anyone who thinks I could lose is a hater and they could eat my ass. I mean, that's not the best.
When he said, I didn't even think that fight was close. I was like, well, then you're lying, because I've been in close fights where I've won that I've been like, okay, like, you know what I mean? That was a close fight. So if you're sitting here and you get on the mic and you're like, that wasn't even a close fight. Why are you guys surprised? It's kind of like, we're not delusional. Like, you can't gaslight us into thinking that you actually like won every single round.
And also saying he coasted when he was like, oh, well, I won the first two, so I coasted the third. Like, literally, that's why you can't have open scoring. because
Yeah.
people will just do that. People will
Yeah.
just be like, "Fuck it." I
I like open scoring though. I was the first fight that did it with Invicta back in, I don't even know when it was, 2019 maybe. And I like it because I feel like with me as a fighter, like if I think I'm up 2 and then I realize that the judge like maybe robbed me a 1 or something, then I'm like, okay, then like I don't know. I think the judges are like, not all judges, but they can be kind of unpredictable and a little incompetent sometimes. So I would rather know if, you know, I'm up or down on the scorecards according to the judges. Like obviously, like I know where my coaches will tell me, you know, but the judges could have a whole different idea. So like as a fighter, I'd rather not be blindsided and be like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? And just see it round by round. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean the opposite end of that is going to be that if somebody's down or it's 1-1, they're going to try to win the third round. Or if they're down 2-0, now they're going to, you know, go all out and try to get the knockout.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, you're right. I mean, you're right.
So why don't you like it, Adam? What don't you like about it?
Well, I didn't like it because of what Patty did. I'm up 2 and I could just coast.
Like fighters coasting or avoiding. Yeah.
But I mean, it was Look, I'm a fan of Patty. He could have just had I would say he just could have had an off night, but every single one of his fights, his chin is straight up and he gets rocked and then he comes back. But they keep putting him against, for a while they were giving him against like jiu-jitsu guys or not great strikers, you know, but eventually it's like, although I kind of thought the same thing with O'Malley in the beginning. I'm like, okay, O'Malley, when he goes up against a Division I wrestler, he's going to have a tough time. I'm like, this dude's going to have a tough time. And he proved me wrong because he's just been, I mean, I thought Peter Yan was going to run through him. I'm like,
I still think Yan won that fight personally too.
Yeah.
But that was a good fight. Like that one was way closer than Patty and Gordon this last weekend. Like I'm less mad about that one.
Dalton, what do you think about O'Malley?
I like O'Malley. I think he's funny. I think he's like, you know, our substitute Conor McGregor, really. But with the Yan and O'Malley fight, that was really close. So it could go either way. It just depends on the judges that night. You can't be mad. If they called it for Yan, you can't be mad about it. If they call it for O'Malley, you can't be mad about it. So
I think you got to have like a really crazy haircut in order to like get the judges to like you. I think that's the rule. That's what we're learning.
Maybe.
That haircut, I put a post of like the judges were Oasis, but I did it boastfully on his haircut. And then everyone's like, no, they're from this part of England.
Oh, God.
And everyone's like, and this guy hates that guy and joke's on you. And I'm like, dude, I don't really.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, I was really about the haircut. So the Ankalaev fight, which Dana White was like, he's like, I tuned out after the third. I didn't think it was that bad of a fight. I thought it was a pretty
fight.
I
didn't watch the fight. I didn't watch that one. I didn't catch the entire UFC card, but I can't really give my 2 cents on that one.
I caught the first 2 rounds of that one, and then
it was one of those things where like you kind of wish there was pride judging in a way because it was, they called it a draw, but the rounds that Ankalaev won were so much better. And it was, I don't think it was a 10-8 round, but they were so much more dominant. So you were like, oh, this guy won the fight. But then you go, well, if you go round by round, I could kind of see how it was a draw. And
that's what a lot of people mistake, though. It is judged round by round.
Yeah,
you can call it round by round, and then at the end of the fight, you're like, well, overall as a fight, this person won, but they could have still lost because it's still 3-2. You know. Now
Bellator next year is going to be on CBS, right?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Are you excited for that? Because I feel like Showtime, it just gets buried on Showtime.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and not everybody has Showtime. You know, you have to add it to your cable plan if you're watching it on cable, or you have to get the app. And a lot of people, just because I think this actually hurts them a little bit, where they put the prelims on YouTube, and like people be like, all right, I was watching the prelims on YouTube, but I didn't know how to watch the main card, or vice versa. I tried tuning into Showtime to watch the prelims, but they weren't on there. So I think people get mixed up a lot, even though if somebody actually pays enough attention, you could tell where the fights are going to be. But a lot of people, I get it still to this day, people I know, when I post the fight card, they'll like it, they'll comment, say, let's go, shit like that. And then they'll text me the day of the fight. What time are you fighting? What time's the fight start? What channel? What is it on YouTube? Is it on Showtime? What's it on? And I'm like, And I tell them every time, like, I can't give you a time unless I'm starting. If I'm starting the main card and the main card starts at 9, okay, I'm fighting at 9. But if the prelims start at 6 and I'm middle of the prelims or the end of the prelims, all the fights can be finishes or all the fights can be decisions. I don't know what fucking time I'm gonna fight.
Were you in the gym during the whole Colby Covington drama?
No, I wasn't there yet.
Oh, okay. Is that good?
I mean,
what was all the drama?
So he was over at American Top Team, and then he got into it with Masvidal. They were best friends, and then they became mortal enemies. Masvidal like punched him outside of a restaurant, and now he's suing for brain damage or something. And then Poirier was his teammate too, and then they got into it. Now it's just like Masvidal versus American Top Team, and Dalton's over at American Top Team. So I was just wondering what his thoughts on all that was.
I mean, I never met the dude, to be honest with you. And there's some people in the gym that say, like, he was a good guy, but he just has the shtick for fighting, you know, and he's like putting on a show and he just pisses a lot of people off. But like, if you talk to him in person, like, he was a super nice guy. He always helping people out, always helping the younger guys, trying to help them develop, always offering a hand, shit like that. Like, even the gym manager, Primo, would tell me, like, yeah, he's always super nice to me. I liked him a lot, blah, 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 but they had a falling out. You know, and him and Masvidal were like almost got in fights in the gym multiple times, I guess. This is just, you know, handed down information from everybody at the gym. And so they had them training at separate times. And there was times where they'd overlap sometimes. They'd almost fight and somebody would have to leave the gym. They eventually kicked both out. And this is coming straight from Dan Lambert. He kicked both out. And a lot of the fighters that were at ATT that trained with Masvidal when he was there were going to like Paulino's to train. So they were like asking, like, somebody would need a sparring partner. They'd ask, you know, Sabah or Charlie Decca or somebody like that. And then they'd be like, oh, I can't spar with him because I'm going to work out with Masvidal. And he said it became a problem and everybody kept asking to have Masvidal just come back. So eventually they let Masvidal back.
Got it. Yeah, no, Kobe's always been super nice to me, and like, and so is Masvidal. I think it's one of those things where if you know both those guys, you'd like them. But there was a lot of drama before you got there. The Hector Lombard years, where he would like knock people out during shadow boxing and stuff. Those were some of the funniest stories. You look annoyed, Dalton. Am I annoying you with these questions?
No, not at all. I'm sorry if I came off that way.
No, I feel like I'm bothering you. You seem like a nice guy, but you seem like the kind of guy I don't want. First of all, I would never bring you around my wife because it's just definitely, this guy definitely, like, you know, not the kind of guy you want to bring around. I mean, back in Youngstown, you must have got tons of pussy, right?
Come on, he's a Christian. What are you doing? But Dalton, why don't you do the Luke Rockhold, and why don't you do get a modeling career too? Come on, you can be like Luke.
Well, I got cauliflower here now, so I don't know if anybody's gonna pick me up for that.
Yeah.
Too far gone.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Now, Kay Hansen. So when's your next fight?
I don't know. I got a shattered knuckle right now, so I'm out of commission.
Oh, what happened?
Wrestling. I like shot a high C and I like jammed both of these fingers and it like shattered the base of the index finger knuckle. So it's already been 8 weeks. I went to the doctor and he says another 8 to 12. Luckily, there's not enough ligament damage for surgery, but it's just another 8 to 12 to let everything heal up.
No, you were at you were at my show last week.
Wrestling's rough.
Yeah, wrestling is rough. You were
every time I get hurt, is wrestling.
Always wrestling.
Oh yeah. Now, you were at my show last week with the swingers, right?
Yeah, that was weird.
So
so weird.
Where was this?
So
Vegas?
Yeah, Kay came to my show in Vegas, right? First, I have Gita the Man-Eater came, right? So the transgender fighter.
Yes.
Who's
been on the show. She's great.
Yes,
yeah.
She's great. She fights men, right? She came with these two like super gay black dudes in the front. They were great. And then she was laughing at all the trans jokes, right? Like I'm making
the room would go silent and she'd be the only one laughing and she'd be like, you guys need to laugh. I'm laughing. You should be laughing. And everyone's like
yeah, so she's yelling at everyone for not laughing at any trans joke, right? And then Joaquin Buckley was there with like his crew. It was like him and like two huge black dudes, like his whole team. Then there was a guy who looked like basically Jared from Subway, you know, like, I mean, just not with a girl that was like, I don't know, maybe she was like a 7 or an 8, but compared to him, he was like a 12. She was like a 30, you know, because so I'm like, there's something going on here. Like there's something that's like very strange. So I was like, well, I'm like, where did you guys meet? And they're like, a website. I'm like, which one? They said lifestyle.com, which is a swinger website. Right. So I'm like, oh, so you guys are, I'm like, does it bother you that she gets like other dicks? He goes, no, I find the dicks for her.
Yeah. And he's like, I like to watch it. And I was like, oh.
Like,
Dude,
She looked really young though. That was my only thing. At first, like, especially because it was like dark in there, I was like, she looks super young compared to him. But I mean,
dude, then Joaquin Buckley said they came up to the whole party and invited him to one of their parties after the show.
Wow.
So I don't know what's going on.
Did they go?
Well, he got knocked out by Chris Curtis, so it probably wasn't the best, night for him.
Adam, how did you know that lifestyle.com was a swingers website? Did they tell you, or you already knew?
No, I knew that because back in the day, Phil Varone, who was like the drummer for Skid Row, he was like the president of that website, and he brought all these swingers to my show. So I got surrounded by like 90 cougars at the show, and I like went to one of their parties. Dude, this party, literally, there was a woman. It was a Super Bowl. It was the one where Reggie Bush had like in the fourth quarter. So everyone's watching that football game. There's a girl with her back on the table getting fisted. Like, cause I don't know where to look. Like, I don't know if I'm looking at the football game or
don't look there
or the fisted. Dude, so like some guy has his whole fist in this chick and he's like turning, like she's like a fucking turkey. And then some girl looks at me and goes, "Ugh." I go, "What?" She goes, "He's doing it wrong." Like that was the disgusting part.
That was the problem.
That was the
That
problem.
was the issue.
Yeah,
The technique.
It was
Wait,
crazy.
You got to read the room. Dalton doesn't like fisting jokes. Okay, just read the room here. Okay.
Yeah, Dalton.
It's not that. It's my girlfriend's mom. I think it's one room over.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, man. Sorry, Dalton. By the way, I'm in Miami in January. You want to come to my show in Miami?
When in January?
January, like the 9th or 10th.
It was good. It was fun. You should go.
Yeah.
In Miami?
Yeah, or in like Boca, in Boca.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes on fisting. It's great.
Okay, I'll have to let you know on that. My girlfriend's birthday is in January, so I don't know what we're doing for sure yet. But if you remind me closer to then, I can give you a better answer.
By the way, Saba came to my show, and he got up to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, this guy's going back to the 80s because he looked like a guy that was going back
with
to
the mullet.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Good guy though. By the way, there was one fight. There was a couple fights that were really good. So there was one fight that was that happened where Alex Hernandez fought Billy Quarantillo, and Hernandez beat the shit out of him in the first. I mean, it was a murder. And Quarantillo came back and won in the second, which I couldn't believe. But he got beat so bad in the first, his corner asked Billy, when's your kid's birthday? What's up, people? Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You always find the latest football odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on your favorite sports and events. Bet Major League Baseball, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code CLNS50 to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. And then asked him, what's 5 plus 7? To see if he knew where he was.
What if he just didn't have good math?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they got this on my wife. She's like, "When's my birthday?" And just ask him like, "Well, what did you get? What was I wearing?" I could just think of the annoying questions she would ask. But have you ever had a fight, Kay, where you don't know where you were?
No, thankfully not. I've never been. I've never been. The only way I've ever lost, I got TKO'd once, but it was because I was covered in blood back in Invicta.
Oh, yeah.
And then decision. I've never been like unconscious or like I've never even been rocked, knock on wood. So I've always been pretty aware of where I am, thankfully.
Dalton, have you been rocked yet or no?
Not in a fight, no. At practice. I mean, I spar 3 times a week and I spar with the best in the world, so it happens every now and then. Sometimes the ones that the times that it happened, I think there were hits to the back of the head, which you can't really control. But I mean, nonetheless,
by the way,
it's not happened frequently, maybe twice in my entire life.
Now, how freaky are Austin Vanderford and Paige Van Zandt? Because her OnlyFans, it started off, it was just like, she's just like bending over, pick up something. Now it's like full. Not that I know. People send me the pictures. Okay.
Not that I know.
I don't actually subscribe
Not that I know.
But I'm on, if you go on MMA Underground, there's a whole thread dedicated to Paige Van Zandt, and the people post the pictures. You could see what she had for lunch. I mean, you could see literally like inside, like if she ever needed a prostate exam, you could just look in the pictures. You could look at the photo. Like, have you talked to her about this practice?
Have you talked to her about this?
No, I have not.
You brought this up at all? I'm just curious.
That's their business. When I talk to them, it's just usually stuff about the gym. We've hung out outside of the gym. Me, my girlfriend went and hung out with them. We've done like what do you call that room where you have to like try to find your way out of it? Escape room.
Yeah.
And we went to like Top Golf and went and got food a couple other times. So we hang out outside of the gym, but it's not that we never talk about that.
No, they're lovely people. They came to my show. They're very sweet people. I just like, you're not doing that, right? Okay. Are you not showing your asshole and stuff, right? You're not. No. Okay, good.
Don't beehole shame, Adam. Come on now.
Okay, all right. Now I'll tell you what fight I was shocked at was the Bryce Mitchell. And my dad got so mad at me. My dad's like, me and my dad did like a 9-fight parlay. And then he goes, "What's your one lock to cover us?" I go, "Bryce Mitchell. He's never lost a round. He's got like ape strength. He's gonna the other guy was from Europe, or I thought he was from Italy, I think, or Spain. I'm like, the wrestling's probably not that great. I'm like, Bryce Mitchell's the guy. This is your guy."
Yeah.
Oh
there was like a low kick in the first round that I noticed Bryce Mitchell changed his stance and he never switched it back. And I think something like that like changed everything for him.
Well, I seen he had the
flu. He got whipped over. I was like, that's not Bryce Mitchell. Like,
yeah. What were we saying?
He had the flu. He had the flu too.
Oh, really?
He came out and said he had the flu. And there's a lot of people that are quick to say that he's making excuses, but I fought with my pro debut. I had the flu.
Yeah.
So it definitely affects you. You know what I mean? I don't think that's something he would come out and lie about.
Yeah.
Usually you don't want to have to make those excuses because you don't want to be on the losing side of things. But whenever you do lose and people are asking like what happened in there, I mean, you have to give them the truth. And then they're not going to like what you want to say.
People like to ask what happened. And then when people say what happened, they get mad. Like, that's just an excuse. And it's like, you're asking him what happened and he's telling you and you're mad that he's saying he got the flu when that's the reason he's off. Like, doesn't make sense.
Was the only time he looked human. I mean, Bryce Mitchell, his last fight against that kickboxer, what was it? What's his name?
Edson Barboza.
Yeah, Barboza. I mean, he beat him on the feet.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's not get carried away.
Okay, but he still fucked up Barboza.
He took him down and stuff, and he used the takedowns to halt the offensive assault.
Fine, he won.
So he made it difficult for Edson to strike on the feet, so he didn't get taken down, and he was being defensive. But he wasn't winning the striking.
But you're forgetting how good this other guy Ilya was a great fighter. He's super well.
I had no idea. I had no idea how good this guy was. I had no idea how good he was, and now I'm like shocked.
Don't Patty and Ilya have beef?
Dude, that's not a good fight for Patty.
No.
The UFC's got to find. I don't know who they're gonna find. Put him up against what's that guy that keep going for like rolling heel hooks every time? Ryan Hall or somebody like but then Ryan Hall might heel hook him. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Because
bro, I hope he gets beat. He's so corny. I don't like him. And no, he really is. He's corny as hell. And I think he's a very unlikable person. His personality. I don't know why so many people get behind it. Maybe people can resonate with that because they're weirdos, but the dude is a weirdo.
Yeah.
On top of that, he's not that good. And then you have the other end of it where he's defending fighter pay for Dana White. It's like, bro, you think we're getting paid like, well, I get paid a little bit more, so I can't, speak for that end of it. But those guys going in there getting 10-10, and they're fighting at the elite level. and you look at other sports, and UFC is bringing in the money. They're bringing in billions a year. They have pay-per-views. They're bringing in the money. They could pay them. And I think what the revenue share is like 15% for fighters or 17% or something like that. So he's sitting there defending it, and he's pretty much saying like 10 and 10 is an acceptable amount for somebody at the elite level.
No, I mean, there's like the worst football player in the NFL or basketball player.
The league minimum for a practice squad is like 400,000.
Yeah.
For the active roster, it's 720.
So you thought about being a football player at one point, Dalton?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was either football or MMA for me.
How close were you?
I mean, I was playing college ball at Youngstown State. Granted, I never really got the opportunity to actually start. I got injured. But, I feel, and this is just obviously, I'm not trying to be a has-been, but I feel like I could have made it to NFL. But, life chose.
Right? I mean, you took a whole year off your freshman year just to wrestle, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it was a year off. I mean, it was only 1 year removed from high school football, really, by the time I got to playing college football. So it's not.
No, but I'm saying that's like a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people go, I mean, that's a big year, your freshman year. So you must have been really good to play as a sophomore and not play as a freshman, So that's hard to do.
But I feel like I could have went either way. I could have went with MMA or, football. And I kind of just let my life choose for me.
Well, hey, but remember Mark Wahlberg in Invincible? He became an NFL player like in his 30s, right?
What, Rudy?
No, that Mark Wahlberg movie. I think he's a true story about a guy from Pennsylvania who ended up playing football.
Yeah, he was playing like his name was Rudy or something in the film. He played for the Eagles.
Yeah, his name was Rudy too.
I think his name was. What was it, Rudy? Or am I thinking about two separate movies and combined?
I think it's thinking about two separate movies.
Yeah. So Kay, how did your husband get you? Because you're a hot commodity, beautiful girl. And is he filming your OnlyFans? Both two sided question.
So he's actually a photographer. He has like a 9-to-5, but he's a photographer. And then we met wrestling. He was a wrestling coach for Long Rod High School, and we were wrestling partners. And then we became just friends. And then one thing led to another. But he is my photographer, so it's nice having like everything in a safe place. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'd be scared if I did a bunch of photo shoots with like random photographers, and I'm like, well, you keep those photos? You have those photos? Like, right. So it's nice to have like everything and like it be trusted, and like I can, ever since it's been like over a year since I've had my OnlyFans, and it's like I can go at my own pace. Like I don't have anyone pressuring me into like doing things I don't want to do. Like I don't feel weird in front of any like photographers. You know what I mean? So it's been nice.
How long were you guys friends before he made his move?
We met back when I was like 17 and became training partners when we were like 18, 19. So I think it was like 2020 we became like close friends. Then we got together in 2021.
I was in it for the long haul. That's you gotta they like map it out. And then Dalton, where'd you meet your girl? Let me guess. At the gym, she was doing squats. You came up to her. You're like, you're doing it wrong. Trust me. And then next thing you know, you're taking her out for Cuban food.
No, believe it or not, she doesn't like Cuban food. But believe it or not, I've never drank in my entire life, and she doesn't drink anymore. And back then, she rarely did drink. But it was like after everything opened up because of COVID, and I met her at a bar actually. And before that, we kind of like followed each other on Instagram, maybe like 2 weeks before that, because one of the places I was going to, Cranberry cryotherapy place, was like always put me on their story, and she followed me from that. We followed each other back. We never really spoke too much, but then I'm seeing her at the bar, and I'm like, hey, yeah, you're the girl from Instagram, and like we just like start talking based off that. It was a
coincidence that you saw her at the bar, just random coincidence, like a serendipity John Cusack movie. Really?
Yeah, it was just coincidence. And like I said,
she didn't follow his story and then see him at the bar and then get all done up and wear one of these outfits and then show up.
Listen, the thing is, like, I've never drank my entire life, so like I really never go to bars unless I'm being the DD for my friends. I'm just going to bullshit and kick it with my friends. And she happened to be that night too, and she doesn't really ever drink. So it's kind of weird that it happened that way.
Well, yeah. Dalton, where can people follow you?
At Dalton Rosta on Twitter and Instagram.
Dalton Rosta. All right. And your next fight's when?
I don't know. I just got done fighting on Friday, man. Bellator doesn't give me notice that quick.
But you didn't even get a hit. You didn't even get a hit the whole time. I mean, you just ran through the guy.
I know, bro. I seen the fight stats after, and said I got hit like 40 times. I'm like, where? I got kicked in the leg twice and kicked in the body once. I don't think he landed a shot on my face.
It looked like he was trying to survive. And he was ranked number 10, a good guy. It looked like he was like trying to survive. And
yes, that's what I said. So it's hard to fight somebody, and like people that do jiu-jitsu or wrestling know this as well. If somebody's playing defense the entire time, you're trying to take them down, but they're waiting to sprawl and they just sprawl. It's hard to take them down. If you're going jiu-jitsu against somebody's just showing up, going to fetal position and letting you pass their guard, but they're not like trying to counter attack or anything, it's hard to submit them. Same thing with striking. If I'm just chasing after him the whole fight and he's running and he's extending his arms out like this, posting up whenever he's going backwards, so you can't like get over top or inside his arms or whatever, and he's moving way out of distance, like he's running away. It's hard to land shots on him that way too. Sometimes when people do that, it's not pretty, but you have to do what you got to do to land shots.
It's the worst. I used to hate that wrestling. The worst when someone's just trying to not get pinned. You're just like, fuck. You know?
Well, that's a little bit, you can manipulate people's body on top with wrestling, pinning wise, but for like offensive takedowns and stuff, whenever somebody's playing defense on the feet and they're just ready to sprawl and they're not trying to take any shots or hand fight with you, and they're just backing up and circling, you get hit with stalling calls. Ref says stalling because they know that you have to, like, if they're doing that, there's not going to be any action. So when
are you going to get your brown belt in jiu-jitsu?
I got it already.
Oh, you did?
Damn.
Yes, I got it. I got it like 3 weeks ago. So like when I took him down, I wanted to get the submission, and I'm not the greatest from the back. I'm better from top, like side control and mount. So when I had him taken down against the cage and I was reaching for his far arm and I had the leg in on this side, he was just holding my wrist with both hands, like playing defensive. Wasn't even trying to get up either. He was content with sitting there and just holding my wrist. That way he wasn't taking any damage. Because like you guys said, he was trying to survive. He didn't care. It seemed like he didn't care about winning anymore. So he was just holding my wrist. And so at this point, I'm like, all right, I can't land a punch because he's holding my wrist with both of his hands on the left side and my other hand's behind his back. And I have the leg in. So I tried pulling him like to my back, and I was just kind of using that to try and transition over into mount. And whenever I went to transition into mount, he rolled towards me at the same time, and I lost position, and we ended up back on our feet. But I was going to try and go for a submission from mount or side control, but I wasn't able to get there. He was just playing defensive on the ground.
You took no damage. You won the fight. It wasn't obviously the most fan-friendly fight, but it wasn't nothing on you. And you won every round, I think, by like easily 10-9. And there wasn't, you couldn't have, I don't think you was around. You could have scored for the other guy. I was shocked with Pat Downey, by the way. So Pat Downey was a wrestling stud. He was the guy we had him on the podcast. It was always in fights, kicked out of college programs, but like made the world team or the US team somehow. And like, he was just like, I thought he was the next big thing in Bellator, and he still might be. He has one loss, but he got knocked out by a guy who was 2-2. And
I was like flatline too. It wasn't just like knocked out. It was like that off button.
Were you shocked, Dalton?
So I don't like talking bad about people. I don't have any problem with them or anything, but I was, if not that dude, I was expecting it in the near future. I seen that his striking wasn't there. Obviously he has really good wrestling, but I was thinking, what happens whenever he can't hold somebody down or he can't take them down? Or if he starts, like, as soon as he started going, and there's a bunch of scrambles, they end up back on our feet. I was like, oh, he's probably tired now. And you could tell he was tired. And you saw what happened.
I think it's the best thing for him, because now he's going to realize the way to win fights is not to go punch for punch. And kind of Aaron Pico going to learn that lesson hard. A lot of these guys who are like high level wrestlers, they're just like, oh, striking's they're like new toy. But
Pico has good striking now.
Now he does, but he always did. But he was getting knocked out. It was like he was like his first couple fights. It was like, whoa.
Yeah, but that's because he was putting himself in the fire. He wanted to have firefights. It wasn't because he lacked striking. His boxing's good, and his wrestling's obviously really good. Aaron Pico's a very, very good fighter. I just think in those early fights, he lacked the fight IQ. And it had nothing to do with striking. I think it was just fight IQ. And I think he fixed that. That dude's a problem. He's going to be a problem.
Fair enough. Now, Kayla Harrison, who I love Kayla. She's a good friend of mine. I know she's like a huge part of ATT. Were you shocked when she got her first? By the way, so I'll catch you up. She was the PFL champion, 2-time gold medalist in judo, 3-time or 2 or 3 time won $1 million. No one was coming close. Like she was 18-0, murdering everybody. And she's had a crazy story, like molested by her coach as a kid.
Yeah, I remember this.
Just, she adopted 2 kids because her sister, like, she's got a great, beautiful human being. She got her first loss in the PFL about 2 weeks ago by a girl that she beat twice. I think she just kind of gassed out in the third. Maybe she didn't expect it. Did you see that coming, Dalton? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
No, I didn't see it coming, and I was shocked. I was very shocked. Kayla's a good fighter. She's a good grappler. But I think she did get a little bit tired. There might have been things that have been playing part in that. However, she also fought that girl 2 times before that. So that was the 3rd time. That girl probably learned her style up until that point. And even though Kayla's evolved since then, it whenever they have a good feel for your game, it's like whenever you spar with somebody for too much in the gym or for so long in the gym, they tend to learn your style. So even if you used to beat them up and you still might be better than them, and matchup wise, you beat X, Y, and Z and they can't, it still might be a hard matchup for you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It wasn't necessarily Kayla wasn't the better fighter. The girl just, knew Kayla.
Because if you lost twice, then all you're doing is studying how not to lose to this one person. But she's already beat her, so she's just doing a general probably, practice and training just to beat whoever. But she's not really focusing on Larissa because she beat her twice, right? You know what I mean? It's a different thing.
That's a tough scenario for anybody.
Yeah. Kay, what are your thoughts on that fight? Did you watch it?
No, I didn't. But I'm a fan of Kayla. I mean, that's unfortunate, but I know she'll be back. You know what I mean? She's one of the best in the world. So, I mean, everyone has a bad moment, whether it was her gassing or whatever it was. Like, it happens, and she's still like a good role model. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Well, Dalton, thank you for your time. You're a great guy. You're a great role model. Keep it up. Tell your wife's mom sorry if she heard about the fisting jokes or anything. And take care, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Dalton, thank you. Appreciate it.
See you guys. See you.
All right.
Kay, you don't know when your next fight is. When's your next fuck? Anyway.
Next fuck? Tonight? I don't know.
Next fuck? What?
I'm saying OnlyFans. She didn't know where her next fight is.
It's so weird asking her because I knew her when she was 17 years old. I can't. Yeah. It's fucking me up.
Weird transition.
I think if I saw you now, you're 23. I might have a different. Yeah. I still look at you as this innocent. But you probably weren't innocent back then either. But I don't know, just like this kid. You're like still a kid to me. But also I'm also 44, so you really are 20. What are you, 23?
23, yeah.
I'm old enough to be your dad.
Daddy.
As fucked up as that is. Although I'm happy you're married. The guy seems like he's like a nice Mexican, right?
Yeah.
He's like a super polite Mexican, shy.
We're like complete opposites. Like I don't ever shut the fuck up, but he's always just like listening and like, okay,
good guy.
Yeah, very, very kind.
I never shut up, and I'm always saying crazy shit, and he's just like, okay.
By the way, that sounds like most relationships with men and women. By the way, just so you know.
Yeah. He seemed like a real Darren Till. Now, where does Darren Till go from here? Because
no, that fight was wild. So he was getting the shit beat out of him, and I was like, that's it. Like he's gonna get finished. That's crazy. Then all of a sudden he gets up and he starts acting like he's fresh. Nothing happened, and I was like, what is going on here? And then I don't know how your main training partner is Kashima, and you can't defend a takedown. Like it doesn't make sense to my brain.
Yeah, I mean he's fun to watch. He's one of these guys. Also, like if Patty was from Utah, no one would know who he is. And I feel like Darren Till, in some ways, when you're from England, if you're like a big personality from a small country, the whole country gets behind you.
Rally behind you.
But if you're from Michigan, you're Cody Stamann.
No one gives a fuck about you if you're from Michigan.
Which is crazy because Cody Stamann is coming off a huge knockout against Eddie Wineland. And like it was like elderly abuse. It was not cool. The cops were called. But he was on a 3-fight skid. But you fought like Aljamain, You fought Merab. I mean, you fought monsters.
Yeah.
Monsters.
Yeah, they're all right.
Now, do you train with those guys now, though, right? You train with Aljamain and Merab?
Oh yeah, I occasionally, yeah, if they're in town, I'll train with them. Like I said, I mean, there's not any bad blood other than the fact that I really want to fucking kick their ass in the cage still. You know,
Is it hard? Now, when you first come to a gym and you see a guy that beat you, and you have all that history of like doing the face off and this and that, is there still like, I don't know, is it hard for you to not feel like, fuck, like he got the better of me?
Yeah, I'm a competitor. Like I will never. I mean, I can think about guys that beat me in like wrestling in middle school, and like I still want to like get on the mat and wrestle with them and like see if we can change the history of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. Like I'll have animosity to tell anyone that beats me until the day I die. But I mean, in reality, like we all have the same goal. You know what I mean? Like they had a better night that night, and it is what it is. I have to live with it. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're obviously a great fighter, and you're one of the best in the world. So now, Aljamain versus Henry or Aljamain versus O'Malley. You've trained with Aljo. How do you see those fights going?
I mean, honestly, you know, Aljo's really like he's like a point fighter on his feet. He's really not trying to throw anything hard. He is a really, really good grappler. I think he probably takes O'Malley down and backpacks him. But I don't think he beats Henry Cejudo, if I'm being honest. I really don't think he does. I don't think he's going to be able to take Henry down. His takedowns aren't polished. And if he does take Henry down, I don't see Henry giving up his back. Like, I really think Henry Cejudo could beat him. You know, his in and out movement is really good. Yeah, I think Cejudo beats him, but I think he would whoop O'Malley for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I don't think O'Malley can hang with someone at the level of Aljo, especially with the grappling level and the wrestling level. But I don't know about Henry Cejudo. I feel like it's the opposite for Aljo when it comes to Cejudo.
Now, are you into guys, Kay, with like face tattoos and like shaggy hair and like?
Oh, that's not my type.
By the way, Cody, this is Kay Hansen. I don't know if you know her. Cody Stamann.
I know Kay.
Yeah, I think we both train with Tyler sometimes, Tyler Wumbles.
Have you guys ever hooked up before or no?
No.
No, okay.
No, we don't know each other that well.
Cody, was that your wife I met at the awards?
Fiance.
Man, what a smoke show. First of all, I go to get my seat, right? He's sitting in my seat, right, at the award show. And then he goes, "Oh, he's sitting here? Fuck that. I'm not moving." I'm like, thanks, Cody. Fucking like
that lady was so confused. She didn't realize that we knew each other. She was like, oh, okay.
Dude, then I'm sitting next to Israel Adesanya comes. This is next to us, right? And what a nice guy. But so first of all, there's a bunch of dancers out there doing like their like Cirque du Soleil. As a joke, he takes out a wad of like, he must have had like $700 in singles, and he starts waving it around, right? But then my daughter leaves because she's tired, and with my dad, and she accidentally spills alcohol all over him. So now his pants. His pants. So I like look at him and I'm like, "Hey man, I'm really sorry." He goes, "Fucking kids." I go, "Do you have any?" He goes, "Not that I know of." So
Not that I claim.
Yeah, right. But then there was a guy next to him who I thought looked familiar, and I thought maybe it was his like I don't know who it was, and it was Dan Hooker. I'm like, oh shit. So and he was like, you would not think that Dan Hooker was a fucking monster. You would think that he was like an accountant or something. Like you would know. This dude was great.
Yes. I think he plays basketball.
Yeah.
Tennis.
But by the way, so Cody, what's your thoughts on the whole Patty situation? I think your sound turned off. Cody.
Yeah, we broke up for a second there. You there now?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the whole Patty Pimblett situation?
Oh my God. I think I like chimed in right when you guys were talking about it. Like, no one would give a fuck about Patty if he was from the US. The only reason any of those guys have any clout, Darren Till, Patty, Connor backed it up, but like they're from countries that really rally around their athletes. And let's be honest, like if the US does anything, they literally shit on their athletes. People in the US hate American athletes. It makes no fucking sense. Like, we're the only country where like you can come here, you can be fighting a Russian and lose a decision because, you know what I mean? Americans just hate each other. There's no like a semblance of like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, they were. Yeah, I think he's in a bad. I can. He's breaking up. He's breaking up on you too.
Which is.
All right.
Inside.
No,
I
it's
got
true.
Wi-Fi
I mean,
in my house.
Okay, now we can hear you. Okay. Are you got the UFCPI? Or where are you?
Hear me now? Yeah, Patty
Yeah,
Pimblett, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Fucking ginger looking fuck. He might be a cool guy. Like, I don't want to shit on him too much, but I mean, from a standpoint, like,
it got worse.
he
Your
just
Wi-Fi got
lost.
worse. It somehow got worse. It was actually bad. Now it's terrible. Like,
Really?
yeah. Where are you?
But the point is,
I'm
fuck
at my
Patty
house
Pimblett.
now.
That's the point. It's fuck Patty Pimblett. Right?
Okay, fuck
Yeah,
that.
I think it took a second for my Wi-Fi to catch up. But yeah.
All right, now it
Okay.
is. Now you're good.
Yeah. So you're saying fuck that guy. Now, who are the thing is, you're right. I mean, the guy he fought was like an ex, like junkie, recovered from heroin, fucking came back. Basically the American dream. Like, went from here to like the gutter, back up to the co-main event, and Patty had more fans in the Vegas than this guy had. It was wild.
Well,
Yeah,
I feel like American fans are the only fans that like one fight will chant like USA, and then the next fight will be like chanting against someone from the USA for someone like Patty. Like, it makes no sense. Like, people that were there were saying like, there's so many USA chants, and then Patty fights, and they're just like I don't know. I feel like a lot of them are just kind of dick riders. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
Out chasing.
Yeah.
That's America.
Now, Cody, last time you basically called out Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
How do you see that fight going out between you and Sean O'Malley?
And I would do the same thing Peter Yan did to him, except I'd probably shoot more. I'd just take him down, and just wear on him. You know, I will say this: like, I really thought that O'Malley was going to crack because we had a common opponent. Like, we both made our debut against the same guy, and he like squeaked out a real close decision, and like I'd spanked this guy. So I've been calling Sean O'Malley out since I got in the US.
Terrion Ware.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I kind of saw O'Malley, fucking same thing. I saw O'Malley kind of like just like wilt, like he quit. But against Yan, man, I will say that like I did see another side of him. Like, he really wanted it. You know, that third round, you know, after taking an absolute beating, he did look pretty good. He was still pretty offensive in that third round. So he actually impressed me. I think his stock went up in my book, at least, in that fight. But I still think Peter Yan won all 3 rounds. And I've watched that fight 20 times, and I can't figure out how anybody could have it another way. I don't know if the judges don't understand what damage is in an MMA fight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they have any
also
fucking
rewarding takedowns anymore. It used to be like you could take a guy down and control him. Now it's like they're
like anti-wrestling, anti-grappling.
But by the way, aren't we at the point where we can decide fights by AI? I mean, I feel like we're like minutes away from that. Like, should there be robots just deciding who wins? Like, why we have stupid people figure it out?
Yeah. Why do we have? I mean, it's all, you know, it's like human manipulate. Like, your career is really subjected to human error. You know what I mean? Like, there is no guarantee you can do everything you were supposed to do in a close fight. At the end of the fight, know that you won the fight and still lose. And that is a scary thought because, you know what I mean? Like, winning and losing a pivotal fight like that, especially for Jared Gordon, like, what happens to Jared Gordon's stock after he goes out and beats Patty Pimblett and like he wins that fight? You know what I mean? Like, now everyone's talking about him and, you know, how well he fought, how he handled the pressure, and, you know, like, he's a really, really good dude, and like he could reach more people, help more people. A lot of positive things could come from that, but now it's a fucking mess. And Patty Pimblett gets to, you know, continue his
his charade and saying that, he can beat everybody. I'm sick of these guys saying that, you know what I mean? Like, until you fought like top 10 competition, you cannot go out and say like, I'm the best in the world. I could just fucking beat the champ today if I needed to. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, shut up, sit down. You're still at the back of the bus. There's still a lot of people that have to fucking get off. Like, no one wants to hear you barking at this point.
Now you got a fight coming up in January in Brazil.
Yes, I do.
Do you want to go to? Why are you fighting in Brazil? Shouldn't you? I mean, come on, Vegas, right?
Dude, I do not.
Are you bringing your fiance?
I don't want to go to fucking Brazil. I don't want to go to Brazil. I've been begging for a fight for months, probably 4 or 5 months. Just like anything, give me anything. Anyone, give me anything. Anyone, anytime, anywhere is what I said. And then like they called me on it. They were like, "You want to go to Brazil and fight a debut guy that's like really, really crazy good at jiu-jitsu?" I'm like, "Well, fuck, I did say anyone, anytime, anywhere." So I guess I'm a man of my word. I'll be there.
Rolling heel. It's just gonna be rolling heel hooks. That's all jiu-jitsu is rolling heel hooks these days. So
literally
defend that.
Are you bringing your fiance?
No. I'm not bringing my fiance to that war-torn country, dude. No way. Fucking that, dude. I've literally heard from every single person that I've talked to has been like, "Oh, you're going to Rio? Hey man, be careful. Like, don't leave your hotel." I'm like, "What the fuck? What do you mean?" They're like, "It's really bad in Rio right now. Like, people are getting shot in the street every day." I'm like, "I think we're probably staying at a decent place." And they're like, "Yeah, but it's like happening in nice places." I'm like, "Fuck." So I get to go to Rio with no weapons and like.
But Cody, keep in mind that people say that to people in other countries about America. Don't go to New York City. People are just shooting each other in the street every day.
That's
They're right.
That's true. I'm not actually scared. I'm just trying to. I was just how I justified
your girl's like
not
a
buying
fitness,
my fiance.
But your fiance's like a fitness model, right? Is that what she does?
No, she's she runs a medical office.
Right.
She's actually
she's like a yoga instructor.
Yeah, she does yoga. She does a lot of yoga and shit too.
She's got
very flexible.
She's got a great butt. I was checking it out. Very, very, very attractive woman.
I'm cool with that.
She's gonna love Brazil. This is gonna be beautiful.
Oh yeah. Now the thing is like I'm going out super early, and I couldn't find anyone to like fly out with her, and I didn't want her traveling all the way there by herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like her dad was talking about wanting to go. I'm like, well, if you're gonna go, I'll buy you guys both tickets. But then he bailed. I just don't want her going that far like by herself. Like I feel like she's gonna get sex trafficked.
Sure. You don't want that to happen.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
That's happened to Kay, and now she does it to herself. Now, speaking of which, Bill, you were a go-go dancer. You posted
what
on Facebook
years ago. But I'm about to test for my black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I know. But when were you a go-go dancer?
When I was in grad school. When I was in college and grad school.
At like gay clubs or like
no, not gay, like Webster Hall, Limelight in New York, you know. But they did have gay nights sometimes.
Were you in a cage?
What did you wear?
Well, the night I quit, they had me in a diaper, and I was dancing next to a midget, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm done with this.
This is it. This is my last straw.
This is where I draw the line.
Yeah, this is it. Diaper.
If you go to Paige's OnlyFans, that's actually next Thursday on Paige's OnlyFans. Kay's OnlyFans. So anyway, no, I'm kidding, Kay. Now listen, that's awesome. Now, by the way, I did a show last week, and these lesbian couple in the front. First of all, Cody says he's coming, so I'm like, shout out. Last time he comes to my show and goes, "Where was my shout out?" Right?
I did not say that. I did not say that.
So this time I'm on stage and I'm killing. I'm having a great set. In the middle of it, I go, I want to give a shout out to my friend Cody Stamann for coming out. It's fucking crickets, right? I go, Cody, is Cody here? Someone's like, he's not here. So people knew that he wasn't there. So thanks, Cody, for getting mad at me last time. He sat in the very back last time. I couldn't see him. And then he goes, "You didn't make fun of me." And this time
I was mad. I was mad because I wanted you to make fun of me. I love hearing your fucking jokes about fighters. You know what I mean? Like I wanted you to fucking roast me. I wanted to get roasted.
Well, this time I was prepared. And
what What's one? Give me one roast joke for Cody.
I had a whole bunch,
roast me right now.
I had a whole bunch of stuff about him and losing to Aljamain. I had a whole fucking thing about the against Saeed and losing in 47 seconds. When I lose, when I finish in 45 seconds, no one wins. I had a whole thing about this whole and I made fun of Kay a couple times during the show. But yeah, so
I thought you were gonna be more ruthless, if I'm being honest. I was surprised.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. I would never do that. And plus, dude, she has the worst resting bitch face. So
I do. I look like I'm so mad the whole time. He's like, I couldn't tell if you were mad or laughing, and I was like, I had a great time. He's like, I couldn't tell you look mad.
Literally, dude, that would be the worst because you would have sex with her and she would not change her fucking expression. And
oh boy,
just look disappointed the whole time. I'm used to that look. Though.
Probably would be if we had sex, but like just nothing. Fucking face does not move. Like
I'm very familiar with that look while I'm having sex.
Oh god. Meanwhile, these two lesbians came, and then at the end of the show, they go to my daughter, holding my daughter. She goes, they gave her $20. And they go, tell your mom the lesbians gave it to you. I'm like, thanks. Like, so this is.
Did she?
No, I took the 20 and like spent it. Okay, what is she gonna do with $20? So, dude. So last week they had me judge a stripping contest, right? But I had me do comedy at a pole dancing contest in Vegas, right? No one wanted to see this. No, everyone was pissed. And I fucking bombed so hard. The mic went out 35
You told me right before. You sent me a picture right beforehand.
That's the mic went out 37 times during the set. So I had no chance of winning. I had no chance of winning. And meanwhile, my wife knows where I am because I didn't even know. I thought she had a spy there. She's like, I see you're at the bar right now. You're having fun drinking. Because they fucking live streamed it. So she knew where I was. Like, I'm looking around for spies the whole fucking time.
Oh my God. That's
and then, of course, there's a car accident on my street during the thing, right? So she's texting me, I'm looking at new places to live. And I'm like, I'm looking at new titties, right?
Brand new.
Yeah. But one of the girls came that was an escort, right? During the show. She comes to my comedy show with a client. And I'm like, oh, when's her hour up? And everyone thought I was kidding, but her hour really was up. Like fucking escort. It's crazy. And then I took my kid to one of these Discovery Channel museums, right? But I had traffic court like that day online. I had so I had to leave my kid and go do an online traffic court during that thing. But of course my charger was like thing. So I asked the lady working there, I'm like, hey, can I use that? I have court. She doesn't know why I have court. It could have been like fucking murder or anyway. All right. So, and then shout out to a porn star that came to my show named Will Pounder. His name is Will Pounder. He came to my show. So Cody, you got this fight. Who are you fighting?
His name's Luan Lacerda. He's making his UFC debut. He's 12-1. He trains with like Jose Aldo and all those guys.
So what's the plan? Keep it standing?
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna beat him up.
Yeah.
It's so strange because like I think back to like when I made my UFC debut to now and like the experience and like what you gain from that. It's kind of odd. Like they must have like a lot of faith in like how good this guy's jiu-jitsu is. But he's never fought an American that can wrestle, you know what I mean? Like I watched a couple of fights. I watched 10 minutes of his fights. I watched enough to know that there's no possible fucking way this guy's gonna shoot and take me down. Like let's be honest, like the Brazilian Olympic team gets beat by like a good high school team in America. You know what I mean? Like that's just the reality of it. Like I don't, like jiu-jitsu is fucking awesome and you can be really, really good at it, but ultimately if you can't get to the ground, like you're fucked.
Yeah.
I'm honest to God, I think I'm gonna butcher this guy.
Well, I can't wait to see it. Kay, we've had you on for an hour. I don't want to take away from whatever you're doing. I am such a big fan of yours, Kay. And I was so happy to see you at the red carpet. You got all dressed up, but you had a classy dress. You didn't, your tits weren't out. You couldn't see. Yeah. You look very good.
We got to pay for that, so.
Yeah, you got to pay for that. You got right. I like that. But now you're only now. Have you bought a house with the OnlyFans money? Because people.
No, well, I live in Southern California, so the market's fucked right now. So like buying like a super basic house right now is like $1 million plus, and I'm like, I could buy a house, but I'm like, I don't want to like waste my money on a fixer upper. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna wait for the market to crash.
But you made more money on OnlyFans than you did fighting so far?
Of course.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dude, I'm about to start an OnlyFans.
You should.
I mean, hey, you got that flexible yoga teacher fiance.
Cody, do it. Cody, if you start OnlyFans, I'll join it and just have like I want you to.
I thought about it. So if I did an OnlyFans, I would do like construction projects, except I would just be like butt naked with a tool belt on.
Oh, I would have you jerking off yelling "I love Patty Pimlet" like every fucking every hour. I would pay for people to subscribe and have you do the gayest shit in the fucking world.
Do it. I mean, I'm willing to fight someone in a cage. But like, there's not a whole lot I'm not willing to do.
Yeah.
So Bill Dawes, what do you have coming up as far as TV shows?
Oh, I mean, shit. Alaska Daily, the other two, and then NCIS. They're all coming out in a month.
Are you playing pedophiles in all of them?
Well, I think I'd be racist or pedophiles. What else can I be as a white man looking like me?
Yes. So, no, I'm not kidding. He's always a racist cop, or he's a psychopath, or he's a pedophile, or something fucking crazy. But
what else can you be as a white male though? Like you said.
But he does it very well.
Who can't grow? I can't grow facial hair, so I can't be in Yellowstone. So, yes. But I've tested for my black belt in 3 days. So
good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. And then and Kay. Now, what do they do when they test you? What do? You just put you in different positions and have you?
No, you have to. It's 30 takedowns, 30 self-defense moves, 30 sweeps, 30 passing the guards, 30 chokes, 30 arm locks, and 30 leg locks.
Like live, or just the guy just lays there?
Yeah, it's like a 2-hour test. You sit there and you demonstrate them all to the master. Yeah. So It's a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I may fail. But whatever.
No, you'd be all right.
So, Kay, where can people follow you, find you, support you?
Instagram, Twitter, Kay Hansen MMA, OnlyFans, if you're into that.
What's the creepiest request you got?
Oh, well, we'll be here all day, honestly. But I don't know. I don't like to talk about it. I like people to feel comfortable, like coming to me or stuff. I don't want to be like outing people and then people being like, "Oh no, that's what I was gonna ask for." So I don't know. You see a lot and like you learn a lot for sure. like
a lot of foot requests. Probably, right?
Yeah, but those are the best ones because they're actually usually like really nice, the feet people. But it's like it's usually just like the regular men that are the meanest.
Okay, let me ask you a question real quick. If you were to make millions of dollars on OnlyFans, like let's say you made $5 million, what would you buy?
I don't know. I'm pretty bare minimum. Like I just want a house, honestly. Like
just a house.
Then, yeah, I would just buy a house and then I could still fight and like, you know what I mean, do what I want to do and like I don't know. I'm not like I don't want like fancy cars or like mansions and shit. Like
move out of SoCal if you want like a nice house.
All my family's here. That's my problem. Is like all my family's here and I just don't know. Like I'm also so used to SoCal. Like I was born and raised here and I'm not opposed to like moving out because I live like in Orange County, so it's like pretty close to LA. I grew up near LA. And I'm just used to the hustle and bustle. But the market is the only problem for me. I don't mind anything else, but it's just like the housing market and the prices of shit. Like gas got up to like almost $8 a gallon not too long ago. And it's just like, all right, well, I'm going to start riding my fucking bike to training because I don't want to be filling my gas tank up. But honestly, if I got like millions I would just like save it and live off it.
Save it because also like right now, like we're looking at private schools for my daughter. Kindergarten, $22,000 a year.
Yeah, I went to a private school my sophomore and junior year. My family couldn't afford it, but we had like a scholarship for it. But that shit was expensive.
Kindergarten, $22,000 a year.
Honestly,
I've never heard of that.
My wife said
from somebody who grew up in a public school, went to private school in high school, and my grandpa's a pastor. Just go to fucking public school. Like, just don't.
That's what I said. But like, look, my wife
I've been to private school. It's not worth it.
I know. It's like maybe you got a scholarship. I'm like, what, coloring? Like, for jumping? Like, what is she gonna get a scholarship for? Like $22,000 a year. Cody, you go to public school, right?
Fuck yeah, I went to a public school. Are you kidding me? Look, I went to a private school. My God.
No, private schools are always like too sheltered, and like the kids never know what real life is. I went in there like when I was 14, 15. I was like, you guys don't even know what like a hard life is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys have just been in the same school since you were born practically, and you've never been exposed to real life.
I know, you're right. I think you're right. I want to put her like in like one of those movies where she goes to an all black school, and then they braid her hair and then teach her how to dance and shit. And she like learns a lesson.
All right, that's my high school. No.
So anyway, Cody, you're the best. Kay, you're the best. Bill, you're the best. I hope you guys have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Happy holidays, guys.